YouTubers. So I've had some interesting things with my USB ports, and well, one of the things I have is I'm not sure if it's a problem in hardware or software, or just the fact that my fairy friends play games on me. But I have a Seagate external backup drive that I use Acronis to back up my software. Um, and if I plug it into a USB 3 port that is on my motherboard, every so often, with no warning to anybody, it'll go offline. And the only way to bring it back online is unplug the power supply for the drive, plug it back in, and then it comes back up. But it may go offline during a backup or before a backup. It's very funky. I've looked through all kinds of searches through Gigabyte, and every time I think I found it, like some kind of a sleep function on USBs, it would go away. It would. I would think I fixed it, but it would come back. It could be. It could be a. It could be a hard motherboard problem that I'm unaware of, and maybe But I've had the board now in here for like 3 years, so I'm probably well out of warranty on that motherboard. Um, and the other thing is I have my media computer has an Intel motherboard. It's kind of ancient, has USB 3 on it, and for the front ports on the computer case, and and it's like I think to myself, well, I never have that problem on that computer. And I use the same Seagate drive. It's not as large. This one's an 8 terabyte, and that one's a 6. But it never goes offline. And then I realized that one in that room is on one of these boards. Now these boards gives you the option to add 4 more USB 3 cables on it, and so it expands out your opportunities, because a lot of times there are a lot of USB 3s ports on the motherboard. You've got the 2 on the front, which often isn't enough. Besides that, if they occupy the same input, and you can't have them working at the same time, which I'm not totally sure how that functions on the case. I know it goes down on 2 cases, goes onto the motherboard in one cable, but I think it splits into 2 ports, so it stays as 2 ports for the front. So you could do clone a drive and plug them into the 2 ports on the front, and then of course you have your ones on the back of the motherboard. But no matter where I would plug in the Seagate, it would actually still do the same thing. And then I remembered that in that room, I have the Seagate plugged into one of these on that board. That board is it's an old Intel motherboard, probably at least 10 years old, maybe longer. And so I'm lucky I even have, the USB 3 on it. So the other ones, so I added my USB 3 by using one of these, and this is where the Seagate plugs into, is on this board here. And I also have a hub that comes off of it for adding, also plugging in things like cards and other USB 3s. So I moved the Seagate drive on this computer onto this one, which I have one of these also in my editing computer. Um, I just had most of my plugs are all plugged into the motherboard, so I moved the stuff over that needs to be USB 3 onto this board, which was the Seagate drive. And lo and behold, for the most part, it never goes offline, which is just interesting. So the other interesting thing is that I have a I have various drives. I have these these types of drives that I'll put my own SD into, SSD. I have various ones I use, like I'll clone my C drive every so often just to back up my backup. In case I have a crash, I can clone my C drive and put that back in to restore it. So I don't have to reload from the entire backup, because usually the backup will be fine, or I'll just lose my C drive. And that saves a lot of time in restoring. But I also have is one of these. I have this pluggable. Now, the cool thing about the pluggable, it's an M2 drive, portable drive. And the nice thing about it, it's toolless. So you got this push button thing on the bottom that opens up this drawer cover. And then in here, you have your M2 drive. Now, this is an Intel 1 terabyte. And then it has this little diddly bop. I don't know if you can see it. See the little diddly bop? I call it a diddly bop. It's those stupid diddly bops we used to have on our keyboards on laptops. But you just push the little diddly bop out, and that way you unlock your M2 drive, so you can just pop in and out without having to fuddle around with the smallest screw in the world to lock down the board and pop in another drive. Right now, I only have this one that's used to be my C drive on my editing computer, and then I upgraded to a Samsung. So now I do is I use it for transferring large files that I bring down to the TV station, and they can transfer it over. And what they will do is they will take, I have these cables hooked together. One is a USB 3 plug that I use on my system, and they will use the other one, which is the USB 3C, and they get a faster transfer speed. Now, I don't have a C on my motherboard, and to add a C port, I would need another one of these, except the back would have a C port on it, and then I could do that. But that board is $70 from Silverstone, so I haven't really decided whether it's worth the time in transfer speeds. But then, and the transfer speeds on the front is slow. It rarely ever goes over 100 megabits per second to transfer. But what I did is I got some of these, high-speed USBs. They're, I think they're 6 foot. Plugged them into my board on the back of my unit, which is this one. And so now I have 4 of them, and I'm using one of them is for the Seagate. The other 2 are for the red cables, and then I have a spare for something else. So if I were to put this into this drive here now, my transfer speeds are almost up to 300 megabits per second for my files. Now, my video files for these productions that go to the station are often about 4 gigabytes. So it transfers in less than a minute. It's fast. It's just amazing how fast it is. Now, I suppose if I had got a C, it would probably be just as fast or faster, maybe. But I'm happy with that. Now, the way my computer is situated is it's over here. There's a ledge. In this house, this used to be a trailer. It still is a trailer, but it has a house built over it. So running around the whole length of the house, there's this, you know, box that has a plumbing line in it for the drain, water, and also for the hot and cold water. It's in this box, and that's actually where my computer sits. Is on that. I don't really have direct access all the time to the back of my computer too easily, and I just have access to the front. So my computer doesn't sit up here on my extremely messy desk that you can't see at the moment, and you should be grateful that you don't see it. So I have a 6-foot cable that runs around. I took 2 of them and I kind of lashed them together so that they kind of stay put. And I plug it into that. And it's kind of amazing about the transfer speeds have increased by going into this board. I had never really noticed it before. So it's pretty cool. These boards are not expensive. They're about $30. You can get them. This has a power connector on here that you would plug into your power supply so that you could use it for charging devices. And you can also get them with an extra port for if you want to plug in like your front ports into the board. So you'd have to do a search on Newegg or Amazon and determine what do you want. Now you can get them with a C connector on them too. I got a recommendation from Kerry Holzman to use the Silverstone. So I tend to trust that he knows what he's talking about. But $70 is a lot to just have faster transfers. I mean, this actually does really nice for my applications. So I just thought I'd share that with you. I don't know what the model, what the brand name is for this. But, you can look at reviews and you could figure out what works for you. And that's that. I wish everybody a wonderful day and happy. End stream.